Getting ready for a cruise? Your bags are packed, but trust me, those last 30 days before you sail are crucial. I've seen my fair share of cruise mistakes, and with just 2 weeks left until we go on our next cruise, I put together 39 tips and tricks that'll save you money, time, and stress, and maybe even a disaster when you get to the port. So to save you that kind of trouble, I put together a cruise prep countdown for what you should be doing 30 days before, 7 days before, and the day before you sail. Let's start our cruise prep countdown with what to do 30 days before you sail. So 30 days before you sail, you want to check your documentation. You want to check your passport. Your passport needs to be valid through 6 months after you sail. So if your sailing ends in December, it needs to be good through June of the following year. A crazy rule, but it's the rule. Tip number 2 has to do with a closed loop cruise, where you have an ID and a birth certificate. So you can do that on closed loop cruises if you're a United States citizen. However, I'm gonna argue that you wanna get a passport book. And the reason why is 2 reasons. One, when you're getting off the ship, it's more convenient because they use a face recognition technology, and you can basically walk off the ship. If you use your birth certificate and an ID, you have to go be manually checked out. And then the other reason is if you are in a foreign port and for some reason you have to fly home and you don't have a passport, that's gonna be a real hassle. Tip number 3 is to print and photograph important documents. And what do I mean when I say that? You want to take a copy of your passport. You want to have not just your photo area, but you also want to take a picture of the back part here too. And then the next thing you might want to get a photo of and a screenshot, just so it's on your phone, is your health insurance card, your driver's license, your credit card, and here is really tip number 4, which is to bring a second card. And the reason why you might want to bring a second card is just in case for some reason they freeze a card because you're traveling, and we're going to talk about a tip later in the video about how to get them not to freeze your card. But that way you have 2 credit cards, you have a backup credit card. And then the next thing you will want to have a photocopy of and take a screenshot is your travel insurance policy. So I covered tip number 4, which is to bring a second credit card. And then tip number 5 is to call your bank and give a travel alert. Or you can just do that on your phone. I just put a travel alert for our upcoming cruise, and I was able just to do it through the app on my phone, your banking app. Here's a pro tip. While you're scanning and printing out things, you'll want to have an extra copy of your luggage tag. And the reason why is you're going to put one on your luggage, and that's going to be something else we're talking about in a minute here. But it's a good idea to throw one of them in your luggage. And that way, if for any reason your luggage tag gets lost, you'll have a backup because it'll be in your bag. Still talking about things to do 30 days before you sail, and these have to do with your tech and cruise planner. So first thing is you want to complete your online check-in early. So you're going to be able to check in usually 40 days ahead. And I do suggest as soon as they open it up that you check in. And for me, I like getting the earliest time possible so I can start my cruise as soon as possible. We like to get on the ship, go get a burger and fries at the burger and fry place that's usually up no matter what cruise line you're on by the pool. Tip number 7 is to download your cruise line app. So you can check in either on the computer or you can check in on your phone. Either way. Now, the other reason you want to download your app though is because it has your daily schedules, it has your daily menus, it has the activities, it has so many things that you can do on the app. And something to know is even if you don't get Wi-Fi, so you don't purchase Wi-Fi when you go on the cruise, you'll still be able to use the ship's app for the ship's activities. While you're on your app, you might want to do tip number 8, which is pre-booking excursions, dining, drinks, spa, any of those things. And the reason why you want to do that is because, first of all, like for example with excursions, you get the excursion you want. Sometimes they sell out, and also you could get a better deal. So right now, since we're going 2 weeks out, I'm getting deals every single day. You want the specialty dining package, you want to buy the drink package, you want a Wi-Fi deal. So keep an eye out for those specials, which is actually your tip number 9. And the other thing to know is though, 48 hours before the cruise, snap, no more. At that point, anything that you want, you're gonna have to buy it when you get on the ship. Tip number 10, check your cell phone plan. So if you're going out of the country, you wanna see, does your cell phone work? What kind of charges do they have? Roaming charges, international roaming charges. And here's your big pro tip. When you get on that ship, the first thing you wanna do is you wanna put your phone on airplane mode. Why? Because if you don't, your phone might try to connect to the ship's like roaming Wi-Fi, and that is a very expensive mistake to make. Tip number 11 is to order your cruise gadgets early. Things like non-surge protected power bars. We're gonna talk about these in a minute. Magnetic hooks. You want magnetic hooks because the cruise ship's walls are metal, and you put these heavy duty magnets on and you can hang all sorts of things from it. And then also things like your luggage tag covers, and we're gonna talk about these in a second as well. Our next category for 30 days out is medication and first aid. So you wanna get all that stuff prepared. Some of the stuff you have to do last minute, but others you can start getting that ready sooner, and then it's not all happening at once. So you wanna pack prescription medicines. You wanna have them for at least a week after you cruise. Again, just in case. And you wanna bring it in the bottle that it came in, so the labeled bottle. It just makes it easier if for any reason you have to go to the ship's doctor or you have to go to a doctor on shore, that they know exactly what they're talking about, what you're talking about. In addition to that, you wanna have a prescription list. So keep a list of all the prescriptions that you take. Again, making it easy to share that information with anybody medical that you have to talk to. And then you want to stock up on your favorite meds. So I keep a little container, like I have some Tylenol, I have some lozenges. These are great too. These are, I'll put them under here. These are like ginger candies. So if you happen to have a little tummy trouble, a ginger candy can help settle it. Here's another bonus tip. Don't count it against me with my 39 plus. But if you do happen to feel a little queasy, you can go get a green apple from the buffet and it'll help with your stomach. But you'll also want to bring like Bonine. They also have like a prescription medicine patch that you can put for seasickness. So if you're worried about being seasick, bring some things to help you. I'll have some descriptions. I'll have some links in the description below so you'll have an idea of what I bring just to cover myself. In addition to that, I always bring hand sanitizer, and I bring, as far as for first aid things, I bring Band-Aids, I bring alcohol pads. Just here's why. If you need a Band-Aid on the ship and you have to go to the ship's doctor, it's gonna cost you a lot of money. Or if you have to go to, they do sell things over the counter, meds and such in the stores, but they also are very expensive, like 3 or 4 times what they would cost otherwise. So anymore, I just pack my own little medical kit and bring it with me. We're on a roll. I already covered, bring a mini first aid kit. Another thing that you might wanna pack is an emergency dental kit. So if you have any kind of dental work, bridges, fillings, things like that, you might wanna bring a little kit with maybe some dental cement, some wax, some like Orajel painkiller, and that way it'll get you, like you might be able to get home because there's no dentist on the ship. Next, we're gonna talk about our home and pets. So a few things to do 30 days out. So you wanna arrange your pet care early, find out who's gonna be watching your pets, and start getting them set up for success. So get that extra medicine if they take medications, their food, their cat litter, whatever you need to make sure that you feel comfortable that your pets are going to be well taken care of when you're not home. And so you'll want to leave that detailed pet information and the vet info for who's ever taking care of your pet. Stock up on those pet supplies. Now let's go on to home things. Put your mail on hold, and you can do that online. So I'll put a little video right here that shows how you can do that. And tip 21 is something that you might not even think of, and that is booking some self-care appointments. So your hair, your nails, it's the first thing I think of, but maybe that's something you need to add to your list. So we're going through these quick. We're done with 30 days, yay! Let's go on to what you're gonna do 7 days before sailing. Now, I'm not talking about your regular packing. You're gonna have to do your regular packing, and depending upon what kind of packer you are, a last minute packer like Noah, or a 2 weeks before you cruise packer like me, you'll have to know your packing style, but that's another video. So these are just things that you need to do 30 days, 7 days out. So 7 days before you're sailing, you'll want to print out your luggage tags, and you'll want to, like, I like using these plastic sleeves. Now, I got these plastic sleeves the first time we cruised. These were a Holland America one, but they work for every other cruise we've been on. They work for Princess, they work for Celebrity, they work for the Royal Caribbean. So here's what happens. When you print out your tags, they look like this. They don't have to be color. You can print them out in black and white. Okay, and then you fold them. So they tell you how to fold them. And normally what you would do, because they're now pretty thick, if you don't want to get a plastic sleeve to hold them, you don't have to. You would just staple it onto your luggage. So you would just staple where it says staple. Staple here onto your luggage. I personally like putting them in these plastic sleeves, because then I'm not worried at all about them going anywhere. And the other thing is, if you do put them in the plastic sleeves, I printed this out. I cut all that extra out, and then I'm able to just fold it and slide it in just like that. So you can see, I'm just gonna do that. We're good to go. Tip number 23, you wanna organize your travel confirmation. So have all those screenshots with your boarding pass for your airplane, your boarding pass for the cruise ship. So everything is in one place. And what I do is I just make an album on my phone and put all the documents and photos that I take that are related to the cruise in that one album on my phone. So I just have to open that up, and I'm not doing this looking for everything when I'm at the terminal. You know, another thing Noah just reminded me is when you put it in these plastic sleeves, it also protects it from the weather. And it also makes me think about when are you supposed to put these on, which I think is tip number 24, if I'm gonna talk about it now. You don't wanna put these on if you're flying. So if you're flying, you don't put these on yet. You wait until right before you're gonna check your bag at the cruise terminal. We're still in 7 days before sailing. We're gonna talk about money and tipping, and you wanna get cash and small bills. You just wanna have some cash. The reason why is you wanna have tip money for your, if you go on excursion, you give the guide a tip. Your taxi driver, you might give him a tip. And here's another place that you might give tips. On the ship, you might give your bartender, that's our next tip, you might give your bartender $1 when you get a drink. You might find you get better service that way. It shouldn't be that way because you are double tipping. Just so you know that you already have every drink that you get already has a gratuity on it. But I like better service, so I just bring some ones, give an extra tip. The next tip is you wanna check your weather. So you wanna always double check the forecast, no matter if you're going to the Caribbean or whether you're going to Alaska. And even with that, it's a good idea to pack with layers. So if you're going to a warm weather cruise, you still wanna have maybe a lightweight jacket. You're going to a cold weather cruise like Alaska, you still wanna bring something lightweight. We went to Ketchikan a couple of years ago. Oh my gosh, I think they were having a heat wave. All the locals were wearing shorts and tank tops, and here I am with my jacket. I had layers, but not enough to take off. So you wanna keep that in mind when you're packing. Always pack an item or two that you can wear if it heats up or if it cools down. Still 7 days out, what about your tech and entertainment? You wanna download any shows, books, or podcasts when you're in good Wi-Fi. Do it at home. The Wi-Fi on the ship is slow, so you do not want to rely on that to download anything. Tip number 29 has to do with packing your chargers and your power bank. So anymore, you have all your different cords. Make sure that you have the cords that go with the devices that you're bringing. And also, it's a good idea to bring a power bank. This is an iWalk, and it plugs right into my phone. So when I'm out and about, it makes it super easy. I'll put a link to this in the description. I love it. And one tip is, when you have all these cords, what I like to do is I like to use a label maker and make labels so that I know exactly what every cord goes to and that I have everything that I need. Also, I don't put these in anything fancy. You can get fancy cord holders. I just use this non-fancy bag. Works very well. In addition to that, you're gonna wanna bring a non-surge protected power cube. Now, some things to know. You're not allowed to bring these on Royal Caribbean anymore. And on the last celebrity cruise we went on, which is on the newer ship, the Edge, they made a box that basically made it so you couldn't use this kind. You could still use something, like there's different shapes that you could use, but what I bring instead, which I think is brilliant, is this guy. So this has I'll show you on here, 3 places for USBs and 3 places for USCs, and everything that I have pretty much is like that. And then it just has a regular plug that'll plug into any outlet. And the reason why you need that is because there's only usually 1 or 2 outlets in the entire cabin, so you want to have a way to get more power. My next tip, tip 31, has nothing to do with tech and entertainment. I have no idea why I put it there, but you do want to pack some hand sanitizer and use it frequently and wash your hands a lot because it's a really good idea. So one thing that I do is let's say you go to the buffet. I wash my hands at the washing station, then go get my food at the buffet. If I don't want to go wash my hands at the washing station again, because you don't know if the people that have been holding the scoops and the ladles, if they've been washing their hands like you, then I do have the hand sanitizer with me and I might use that before I eat. But no matter what, I definitely wash again. And then in addition to that, I bring some antibacterial wipes. Those I use for wiping down the cabin, things like the doorknobs, the remote controls, the sliders to open up the balcony doors. They do a really good job of cleaning the cabins, but those are the little details and things that they might miss, they being your room steward, that you might as well just take care of that yourself. Noah just said to me, I don't think you're doing that 7 days out. No, but you're packing them 7 days out. We're getting closer. 1 day out. What do we do 1 day out?
Get stoked.
You don't start partying yet. Wait till you're on the ship. So let's talk about your carry-on essentials. And part of this is your luggage delay backup. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But the first thing I want to talk about is the documents and where you put them. I carry a sling bag, or sometimes I used to carry like a belly pouch. I don't know what you call them, but you know what I mean. Because I want all this stuff close to me. I don't want anybody getting my passports. Those go right with me. Also, any cash. I asked Noah to carry 1 credit card, and I carry the other, just so that we have it separated. And also, I have Noah carry my driver's license, and that way, again, we have things split up. And then I carry my health insurance card. I could also put my travel insurance, copies of my travel insurance is here as well. I also bring sunglasses. When you're packing, you'll want to bring not 1 pair of sunglasses. If you're like me and can't live without a pair of sunglasses, I bring 2. Last time we went to Mexico, I didn't bring a backup. What do you know? My sunglasses broke. So I always bring a backup. In addition to that, I bring the readers. You just wear regular glasses. Well, you wouldn't bring a backup of regular glasses, but you definitely would want readers if you need those in your bag. I like to carry a few more things in my sling bag. I think it's big. I like to bring a pen just in case I need to fill out any paperwork, my AirPods, my phone, power bank to charge my phone, and some hand sanitizer. Let's talk about your embarkation day bag, or I like to call it my backup bag. This bag you want to keep with you. You do not want to give it to your porter. So in this bag, you're going to want to have any medications, any prescription medications, get those right in your bag, or you can put them in your sling bag, either one. Next, any valuables and tech. So any rings, jewelry. So let me give you this great tip. When you pack your jewelry, this is a great way to get so your chains don't get tangled. You just use a straw, feed it through, and now your jewelry is not going to get tangled. Other tech items, I like to bring an iPad and a Bluetooth keyboard, so I'm going to put that right in my bag. You want to make sure you have your charge cords too. So any charge cords and a plug to plug those charge cords in on the go. So I keep all those in a bag in my embarkation day bag. And one thing I like to do is I like to label all my cords so I make sure that I have everything that I need. And the way I do that is I use a label maker. It's a great tip. We have a lot of stuff that we have to fit into this bag. Here's the things I'm gonna put in and I'll show you it as I pack it up. So I'm gonna have a complete change of clothes. I'm gonna have a shirt, pants, shorts, pajamas, underwear, socks, an extra pair of socks and an extra pair of underwear. Just in case for some reason your bag doesn't get to you, you'll have a backup. You're also gonna have, if you're someone who likes to go swimming on your first day, you will want to bring your swimsuit. That is not something that we do, so I will not be putting that in that bag. But if you do, here's what else you want to make sure you put in that bag. Your sunscreen. Too many people, day 2, are a bunch of red lobsters on the ship, so make sure you have your sunscreen. What else am I going to get into this backpack? I'm going to get a couple like warmer things to wear just in case it's chilly in the dining room or I want to go out on the deck. And then I'm also going to include over-the-counter medicine. So, and also things like your toothbrush, your toothpaste, and any essentials that you can't live without. So anything that you're like, I can't make it a night without them, just have those in your bag. Time to fit everything in my embarkation day bag, which again is a backpack. I like this because it fits underneath the seat when you go on your airplane. But if it's too much for you to carry a backpack, you can bring a roller. You'll just have to bring it on the ship with you and don't give it to the porter. So in here, I have the clothing. So all my clothing, my 2 days of clothing are in there, except what didn't fit, which is a pair of pants for Noah and our warmth layer. So these I might even, if they don't fit when I try to fit everything in, we might just wear them on the plane. All right, because look, I'm almost filled already. Now, the next thing is, I have my toiletry bag. I'm gonna get that in there. Maybe. Ooh, I did it. Then, those essential, basically Dramamine. I think I have an outsized pouch for that. Oh, there you go. Put that out there. And I didn't mention this, but makeup. I'm gonna get that in there. This will zip up, I promise. And finally, it's a good idea to have those snacks. Guess who showed up just in time for snacks?
Ooh, yummy cookies.
Cookie break time. I was here to help me with the last few tips that go with this video, but before we get to that, I just want to go over why I'm so picky about having that backpack with us. And it's because on our last cruise, we were waiting in line for dinner. And you remember that couple that were wearing flip-flops in the main dining room?
Yeah, days and days in the same clothes.
Mm-hmm. So when we sailed out of Seattle, there was a Royal Caribbean ship and there was a celebrity ship at the same docks. Their luggage ended up on the Royal Caribbean ship. We were on a celebrity ship. And boy, were they unhappy. So here's a tip for you. When you hand your luggage over with your $5 tip for them or whatever you give them, say, which ship is this going on? Because I'm on that one. You want to make sure it is. And the other thing is you want to have some air tags in your luggage. That way you know where they are, where your luggage is. Like I'm going to be checking my luggage, making sure it gets on my ship. Because it was like, it wasn't until those two ships were in the same port again that they got their luggage, which I think was 2 or 3 days later. So that is why you need to have that backpack or whatever bag you're going to have that has a day's worth of clothing with you. And another thing, since I'm talking about it, if you're somebody who likes to go swimming or in the hot tub that first day, right when you get on, you'll also want to put that in that bag because you're not going to see the luggage that the porter takes from you until what time do we usually see him?
Yeah, late afternoon.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
In addition to getting a cookie, Noah's here because I take care of getting the packing ready and he takes care of everything else. So getting the house ready. So What do you have to tell us to get our house ready?
So just in general summary terms, it comes down to you don't want to come home to anything stinky. You don't want to come home to any messes like, water leaks, things like that. And you don't want to be using unnecessary amounts of energy for your home when you're not going to be there. So I turn off the water to the wash machine, sinks, toilets, that type of thing. A lot of the water inside the house gets turned off. We leave the water on outside for gardening, that type of thing, so the plants get water while we're gone. We have gas hot water heater. I turn that down to a vacation setting, so it keeps the water a little warm. Doesn't use as much energy on that while we're gone.
Does it say vacation setting?
Yeah, there is a vacation setting on there.
Things I never knew.
And then take the trash out, make sure there's nothing spilled, any food spilled, the floors are clean, those types of things, just so you come home to a pleasant home.
Yes.
Back.
Run the dishwasher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What about like things that people might not think about that you were talking about the other day, like charging your security?
Well, if you have security cameras that have their own onboard batteries, to charge those, making sure that the Wi-Fi connection to those is good while you're gone, so you could use the app on your phone to look at those if you need to. I think you had mentioned in one of your lists on doing a mail hold, so you don't have mail accumulating outside.
He usually takes care of that.
And then if you have any lights you want to have on a timer, that'll cycle while you're gone, so it might look like somebody's home if somebody's checking out your place.
All right. Thank you.
My pleasure.
We made it. 39 tips and tricks to get you ready for your cruise. And if you want even more tips and tricks, watch this video next where I give you 10 tips and tricks on how to make your cabin more comfortable. Happy sailing!